Good evening. First, I want to thank Kitab Khana and the Indian Novels Collective for this initiative, and of course, thank Ashwini Kumar, who has actually curated this program, and Mansi Shetty for all the tech help she's been giving us. This reading I dedicate to the migrants who've been walking through this country in this difficult time, and let's see what we can do for them, because it's really a horrific story. Now, I was wondering what should be the poems I should read during lockdown, and I thought these should be poems of travel, all from my new book, Calling Over Water, which again I must thank Ashwini for. He said, please read the poems from this book, have it as a kind of a digital launch, because curiously, my friend Ranjit Hoskote, the poet, and I were supposed to launch this book tomorrow, 3rd April, at Kitab Khana. This event is postponed, not cancelled. So, about these poems of travel. We travel in time, we travel in space, we travel within ourselves, and we travel outside too. I begin with one poem called Archiving Mother, which is really, it's dedicated to my mother. It is a travel in time, and I'm reading this because it was specially requested for by some poets. Archiving Mother. Names float up in her mind. She's mother. I'm daughter. We are separated for the first time. Somewhere, an veil of emerald trembles in the sky as sun rays break the earth's membrane. Somewhere, the soil opens as a mouse pushes out of its hole. Around its head, a shimmer of green grass flames. Somewhere, in between, breath mists in and out of my flowering lungs that are smaller than her ear. She holds me for the first time, my skin puckered by her fluids, her face a chandrama of love, lantern to my life. I hold her for the last time, moon rubbed up from night's ink before she blows past the horizon. You know, we can say that poetry is many things to many people, and for me it's writing it is often, it's like dew after a long night of meditation. But from this poem onwards we travel into space. And the first poem I would like to read for you is one about a Jain temple which we came across when we were traveling to Orcha. It was a rainy night, evening really, when we came across this temple. Views through watered opal, Madhya Pradesh. Jain Temple at dusk. Against a lavender sky, the hill shapes into the temple's crumbling face of stone and scrub that is brushed by a stillness not of this world. Those who excavate this desolate soil toiled to create the same elusive enrichment for their broken lives as we who journey here seeking enchantment. Through sinking darkness, faint stars bubble, far worlds that hymn their entrapment and rapture. And now from Madhya Pradesh, we travel to China. I've written many poems which on that trip, which was actually the Buddhist Silk Route Trail from Xian all the way to the desert western end of China, Dunhuang, which has the pebbly Taklamakan desert on one side and the smooth, sandy, rising Gobi Desert on the other side. But the poem I'm going to read for you today is the first of these many poems, which begins in Xian. Grand Mosque, Xian. Lacquered in late afternoon light, the ancient mosque constellates as a sacred chameleon sourced from mingled memory. Turki, Chini. The old desert dream of water surfaces as turquoise tiles. The surge of the dragon sheens its winged roof of glaze. Here, peace emanates through the proportions of courtyards, clipped shrubs, stippled carp in stone basins, fallen light, and carved calligraphy in lapis lazuli. Allahu Akbar. Here, the haunting heart, the hunting heart, quells its hungers. The unfamiliar is welcomed home through beauty. The next poem is also on the Silk Route, about the Silk Route, but a very different country now. We move to Uzbekistan, to Kiva actually, the mud fort of Kiva, which was famous for holding the slaves. It was a center of a terrible traffic of slaves for centuries. The mud fort of Kiva. Crenulated by ancient toil, this wall of sand stands against the sky and stretches. At night, it turns homely. Restaurants light up its alleys. We get drunk on its shrunken size and our escape from the guides intoning of its history, especially the slave chambers, ferret holes in which they were shoved, stacked and sold, on which Kiva thrived for centuries. The cages aren't empty, but thick with pleading eyes, poached by time. Their flayed lives tinge our wine with tannin, however much we pretend otherwise. Their fingers lick the contours of my dreams with screams and unknown tongues that are my own. Next morn, above the ramparts, dawn silk looms, turning in duration beyond right and wrong. Breaking into my room are shakuha cheese notes. There he stands at the massive gate, the Japanese tourist with his back to me, playing his flute for the dead slaves. I listen from my balcony. He turns, we bow to each other and depart for distant lands. And now we come back to India again, this time to the great Daulada Range. We were in Bir, which is supposed to be the paragliding capital of India and one of the hotspots, sad to use that word, of paragliding. And we heard of this temple called Parashar Temple. It's almost 2,800 meters high up in the mountains. And at the foot of this temple is a little lake. It was a day trip, driving there and back. Mountain notebook. Drive to Parashar Temple. Sky and more sky. The higher one climbs, the more snow peaks grow, one then another, like memories awoken. Open road, glinting and climbing, while rhododendron flowers billow into the clouds below. Snowfields, dense gorges, the sun doesn't reach into valleys. The sound of streams rise with their voices of ice. How soon the range shrinks out of sight. The same road turns back. Part of me still wanders the temple. Part of the temple sits within me. Driving past trees with their silhouettes aflame as another day, driving past trees with their silhouettes aflame as another day slides towards the plains. Leaves on runoffs drift cold, air like a blanket before night's cold. At our feet, the bonfire's tongue of hiss, crack and thud. Above, mantling stars speak of vast wonder. Between these, our laughter circles the fire, laughing. And the next day, gazing at snow peaks, shoulder to shoulder, sun-warmed, astray at our feet, while overhead what we can't see turns continuously. May this happen many times over. And I end my reading with one other poem called Wonder. Wonder, yes, indeed. This is wonder, and you know the kind of journeys I'm speaking about here. Literature, inner spaces, and outer vastness. Wonder. Under phosphorescing skies, I'm a compass with the needle missing. The pole star wanders, shedding light. Hurtling embers lace space, hurtling embers lace space, each a graze, a syllable. Galaxies reel, spilling the language of time. Mysteries, alphabets, singe nebula, strum stellar winds. In which transparency do you hide? Thank you so much for listening, for being there. Stay safe, and my warmest wishes to all of you. Thank you.